The woods were ancient. Silent sentinels gnarled and twisted. Sunlight struggled to penetrate the dense canopy. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. This was a place of secrets, a place where darkness lingered. At the heart of these woods stood a cabin, isolated, derelict. Its windows were dark eyes staring out at the world with a chilling emptiness. The paint peeled from its rough-hewn planks like scabs on old wounds. A single chimney, crooked and crumbling, spewed a thin trail of grey smoke into the still air. The silence of the woods was deceptive. It was not the peaceful quiet of nature at rest. This silence held its breath. It listened. It waited. For something terrible stirred within the cabin's shadowed depths. The only sound came from the rustling of leaves. A small, sleek form slipped through the undergrowth. It moved with a predatory grace, its eyes bright with a chilling hunger. This was Rowena's domain, and she was on the hunt. Rowena was a creature of instinct, a hunter born. Her sleek brown fur blended seamlessly with the shadows. Her piercing blue eyes, sharp and alert, missed nothing. She was the phantom of these woods, feared by every scurrying mouse and unsuspecting bird. Tonight her prey was mice, plump, juicy field mice that dared to venture out from their burrows. She stalked them with a patient ruthlessness, her lithe body moving silently through the undergrowth. A flash of brown, a swift pounce, and it was over. Rowena would bring her prey back to the cabin, a gift, payment for the shelter it provided, for the warmth of the hearth on cold nights. She didn't understand the man who lived there. His scent was wrong, alien. But he provided for her, and in return, she served. She dropped the unconscious mouse at the cabin door. It lay there, a small broken thing, a testament to her skill, a silent offering to the darkness within. Rufus, that was the man's name. Rowena knew it the way she knew the scent of rain or the feel of sun-warmed earth, not in words, but in the deep primal understanding that bound predator to predator. Rufus was not a kind man. Kindness was a weakness he could not afford. Not in this world. Not anymore. His eyes, cold and calculating, saw only opportunity. His hands, calloused and strong, were tools of survival. Tools that had taken life as easily as they had given it. He collected the mice Rowena brought him, stored them in a rough-hewn cage. He fed them grain and water, keeping them alive, fat, ready. They were not pets, they were tools, just like everything else in his world. He had other uses for Rowena's gifts, darker uses, uses that made her fur prickle with a primal fear she could not understand. But she pushed the fear down, ignored the whimpers that sometimes escaped from the locked room at the back of the cabin. She was a survivor, and survival meant obedience. The whispers started subtly. Parents in the nearby village, their faces etched with worry, spoke of children gone missing, vanished without a trace, swallowed whole by the woods. The rumors spread like wildfire, fueled by fear and uncertainty. The police were called in, grim-faced men in uniform, their eyes hardened by years of dealing with the worst humanity had to offer. They searched the woods, questioned the villagers, but the children remained missing. The woods held their secrets close. The trees whispered amongst themselves, their leaves rustling like conspirators in the wind. They knew what lurked in their heart. They had seen it all unfold, but they would not speak. They were guardians of secrets, silent witnesses to the darkness. Detective Miller was a patient man. He understood that sometimes the smallest detail could break a case wide open. He had been studying the files, the witness statements, the maps of the area. There was a pattern here, he was sure of it. Then he saw it. A small detail, easily overlooked. All the missing children had one thing in common. They all lived on the outskirts of the village, their homes backing onto the woods. And the woods, he knew, were home to a variety of predators. Foxes, coyotes, and cats. He remembered something else, something a local farmer had mentioned in passing. A large brown cat, unusually large, that he had seen lurking near his barn. A cat that always seemed to be around when mice were plentiful. A cat that disappeared into the woods. Miller felt a chill run down his spine. He knew where he needed to go. He just hoped he wasn't too late. He grabbed his flashlight and headed into the woods, following the trail of mice. The cabin was even more menacing up close. Detective Miller approached cautiously, his hand resting on the butt of his service revolver. He could hear the rustling of leaves, the snapping of twigs. The woods were alive with unseen eyes. He tried the doorknob. Locked. He gave it a swift kick, the flimsy wood splintering under the force. The stench that hit him was overwhelming. Rotting meat, animal waste, and something else. Something metallic, the smell of blood. He stepped inside, his flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. In the corner, a cage full of mice. On the table, a bloody knife. And on the wall, scrawled in what looked like blood, a symbol. Miller recognized the symbol from his days in the Force. A pyramid with an eye at its center. The all-seeing eye. The symbol of the Illuminati. His blood ran cold. This was bigger than a missing child, much bigger than missing children. So much bigger. Rufus was arrested. The media had a field day. The monster of Black Creek Woods, they called him. The trial was swift, the evidence overwhelming. He was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. The village breathed a collective sigh of relief. Their children were safe. The monster was locked away. But Detective Miller knew better. He had seen the look in Rufus's eyes during the trial. A look of smug indifference, as if he knew something they didn't. And he was right. Rufus's imprisonment was a sham, a carefully orchestrated performance designed to placate the public. The Illuminati took care of their own. They pulled the strings from the shadows, manipulating events to their liking. Rufus was transferred to a maximum security facility. A facility where he enjoyed comfortable accommodations, gourmet meals, and regular visits from his lawyers. Lawyers who just happened to be high-ranking members of the Illuminati. The Illuminati, a secret society so ancient, so powerful, that their influence permeated every level of society. Governments, corporations, media outlets, all danced to their tune. They were the puppet masters, and the world was their stage. Their goals were shrouded in secrecy. Some whispered of world domination, others of a new world order. Whatever their true motives, one thing was clear. They operated with impunity. Above the law, untouchable. Detective Miller knew this now. He had seen a glimpse behind the curtain, and what he saw chilled him to the bone. The world was not as it seemed. The lines between good and evil were blurred, obscured by layers of deceit and manipulation. Rowena watched from the edge of the woods as the police cars drove away. She didn't understand the intricacies of human justice. She only knew that the man was gone, and she was alone. She slipped back into the shadows, her sleek brown fur blending seamlessly with the darkness. The woods welcomed her back, their silence a comforting blanket against the harsh realities of the world. She was a creature of instinct, driven by primal urges. Survival was all that mattered. But as she disappeared into the undergrowth, a flicker of piercing blue-green remained, a spark of awareness in the depths of her animal mind. She had tasted blood. She had served darkness. Rowena saw Rufus return, and the hunt she knew was far from over at that moment. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I will be forever grateful.